this murmur, and I said, well, we don't want blood donors that have congenital heart disease, because it's like anytime you put a needle in there, you could bring bacteria that can seed the valve and you could get a endocarditis. So we sent this guy home. Actually, he got adopted by one of our large animal clinicians and went to live in a farm. And then shortly after that, I get another greyhound and I listen to it, and it has the same murmur, and I go, well, wait a minute, this is kind of weird, because now I went to the cardiology books and I said, how many greyhounds with SAS have there been reported in the literature? And there are none. All right. So then we started this study where we took all these greyhounds and we listened to them, and then we did echocardiograms and a number of other things. And what we did find is that they do have a murmur, most of them do, and that is because they have a very big left ventricle. That is the main chamber in the heart. Remember, I was telling you, this guy is a blood the viscosity of molasses when they're running the racetrack. So they need a very, very big pump to move that blood around, and they do that by increasing the size of the left ventricle. So what happens is, when God redesigned these guys, He gave them a really big left ventricle, but the opening of the left ventricle is the same size that in a Labrador, all right? So when that blood squishes through there, it swirls and it generates this sound that is called a murmur, and your vets will be able to hear it all the way up in their necks if they put their stethoscope right on the neck. So we published that a few years ago, 3 years ago, and then we said, well, how big are their hearts? So if you take chest x-rays, we use this thing that is called VHS, or vertebral heart scores. We measure vertebral bodies and we compare them to the size of the heart, and that gives us a number. A normal VHS is between 8.8 and actually 10.5. Well, there are no greyhounds that have VHSs below 10.5. All the greyhounds have really big hearts, and I'll show you. This is a greyhound heart. That's a boxer heart, and I don't know if you can see them very well, but the greyhound heart is significantly bigger. That valve that I was telling you about, the aortic valve, sits right there, and the elbow is right here. So this is actually, greyhound hearts are usually upright, and it will be a very, very high left armpit murmur. So we found that. We just published that last year or 2 years ago, whenever that was, in the radiology journal. And then, we've done a lot of blood pressure studies in the greyhounds. A lot of you guys know that the Harvard Medical School in the 60s had a colony of retired racers that they used as models